Okay, great. Well, it's thrilling to welcome you all to this briefing. My name is Rebecca Vilkomerson. I'm the Executive Director of Jewish Voice for Peace. Jewish Voice for Peace is an organization inspired by Jewish tradition to work for the human rights, equality, and security and freedom for all the people of Israel and of Palestine. And we're very happy to be hosting this briefing at, I think, a very opportune time. As is often the case in the Middle East, it's a time of challenge and opportunity. And I think since the most recent set of peace processes have ended, it's clear that new approaches are going to be needed if we have any hope for a resolution that will provide security and freedom for all the people of the region, Israeli and Palestinian alike. We're watching an escalation right now happening in the West Bank, which has included more violence than at any time since the Second Intifada. And here in the US, just last week, the Presbyterian Church voted to divest from 3 American companies that profit from the occupation, which followed right on the heels of a more limited decision by the Methodist Church the week before. So we're interested in exploring new strategies today that the US, and especially Congress, can look at to change the dynamic of the U.S. role as broker of Israeli-Palestinian negotiations. We're interested, just as Secretary Kerry's negotiating team noted, that Israel has been able to act with impunity, for example, continuing to build settlements, even throughout these peace talks, that we want to talk today about what opportunities we have at this particular moment since the peace talks have ended, what new policies or paradigms are available to put pressure on Israel to first of all, to conform with current U.S. policies, but also in a sort of more profound sense to look at the ways that, what is the most constructive role that the U.S. can play, and what role can members of Congress play in that. And so to that end, we have 3 terrific speakers today at our panel. I'm going to introduce them all together and then invite them to speak, and then we'll have some time for questions and answers. Isaac Menayer is the Executive Director of the Jerusalem Fund. He's going to be talking about U.S. policies and potential interventions that Congress could make. Next, we'll have Phyllis Bennis, who directs the New Internationalism Project at the Institute for Policy Studies. She's been a writer, an analyst, and an activist on the Middle East and the UN for many years. She's a founder and former board member of the U.S. campaign to end the Israeli occupation, and she's the author of Understanding the Palestinian-Israeli Conflict, a primer. She's going to talk about the gap between the current discourse and policy shifts and the global political context. And then finally, we're going to have Rabbi Joseph Berman speak last. He was ordained by the Rabbinical School of Hebrew College. He's an alumni of the Wexner Graduate Fellowships, and he currently serves as a rabbi at a congregation outside of Boston. He's a member of the JVP Rabbinical Council. JVP itself, for folks who don't know us very well, we have about 140,000 supporters. We have over 40 chapters around the country. We have a rabbinical council that Joseph is part of, several dozen rabbis, and there's an advisory board full of luminaries, and a youth wing, a very dynamic youth wing that's on several dozen college campuses now. So we're a growing organization, relatively new to the Hill, but we've been spending our last several years building up our strength and grassroots power. We've been doing home visits in the home districts of congressional members, and so we're excited for you to get to know us a little bit better. Joseph is going to be talking about Jewish values, what it means to be a rabbi who supports boycott, divestment, and sanctions, the generational shifts and changing perspectives of the Jewish community in the United States. So, Yusuf.